Small publication that came to me some years ago carried the following, quote, "Once a man who had been slandered by a newspaper came to Edward Everett Hale asking what to do about it. Said Hale, 'Do nothing. Half the people who bought the paper never saw the article. Half of those who saw it did not read it. Half of those who read it did not understand it. Half of those who understood it did not believe it. Half of those who believed it are of no account anyway.'" So many of us make a great fuss of matters of small consequence. We are so easily offended.
This is so spot on. This is exactly how Ààrẹ Afe Babalola should have handled the so-called defamation by bundling and abducting Dele Farotimi from Lagos all the way to Ekiti State, and his subsequent remand to prison by a magistrate only ended up adding fire to the whole matter. It has drawn attention to the book. When Dele Farotimi's book hit the shelves a few months ago, very few people took notice. Out of the many that read it at the time, very few of them, or nearly zero of them, made a fuss about the contents because they knew that all that he wrote there are happenings in Nigeria of today. They know how corrupt the Nigerian judiciary is, all the operators, including lawyers. This man has been talking about it for ages. Forever, he's been talking about the corruption in the judiciary, the corruption in Nigeria's polity, everywhere. And a lawyer of Afe Babalola's status must know the contents of this book a few days after it hit the shelves, because it is talking about his primary constituency where he has made his mark and reputation the past several decades. Let's even assume he didn't take notice, that he's just finding out the contents of the book like he wrote in the petition he sent to the police. But the question remains, why did he choose December 3rd to abduct Dele Farotimi all the way from Lagos to Ekiti State? Like many have said, it can't just be a coincidence that Afe Babalola chose December 3rd to abduct Dele Farotimi because of what Dele already said he will do on that very day. The day is very significant. David Hundeyin also conducted an investigation. His conclusion was that it seems like the biblical hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob. Dr. Mo also spoke about it extensively in an X space. We will hear all he had to say in a moment. Dele Farotimi is a bold activist who speaks truth to power. He never hid anything. He never hid all his plans. All he wanted to do on that day, December 3rd. As you can see on this screenshot from David Hundeyin, this is the email he sent out to media homes and other people inviting them to come and witness his declaration and ultimatum to the government. All he's calling for is electoral reforms to amend the electoral laws, the Electoral Act of 2022, to include independent candidacy. This will make it easy for upright men to bypass party politics in Nigeria. Just like what is happening now, they have hijacked the main opposition parties, the PDP, Labour Party. You can't do anything. You can't contest election against them without coming from a party. And if they have hijacked these parties, where are you going to contest? So obviously, if independent candidacy is included in our electoral laws, people wouldn't need to subject themselves to criminal party hijackers in order to get to power. You don't need them anymore. You can just campaign on your own reputation, on your own antecedents. If people buy into you and your policies, they will elect you and you will get where you want to go. You will get to that office, the presidency, governorship, anywhere.
Can you upload
Now, the second amendment he's seeking is the mandatory transmission of election results. It's very shameful that in 2024, Nigeria can't conduct a transparent election, while other countries, smaller countries, countries that can be compared with Nigeria, all conduct transparent elections. The only way to guarantee that the will of the people is upheld is to transmit the election results directly from polling unit on that election day. And it's not as if this law doesn't exist already. It exists in INEC guidelines. and guidelines are supposed to be derived from existing laws, the electoral law. But it's just that it's not explicitly written in the electoral law that it must be transmitted. They only said that it is at the discretion of INEC. Of course, INEC already used their discretion in 2023. That was why they included the transmission of results in their guidelines, trained all their staff on how to conduct the transfer of election results, how to snap the forms, the result sheets, and transmit and upload to IREF. Of course, they ended up abandoning the whole thing when they saw they were losing, the people they were backing. They shut off the IREF, and when the opposition came to court, the court allowed INEC to get away with it. So this needs to be mandatory. That's the minimum in 2024. All results must be uploaded from polling units and at different collation centers. The primary source of results must come from IREF, the uploaded results. When they are not ready or available, they have to rely on physical copies from political parties. They have to match all of them, all the political parties that are present, match all their results. If they are the same thing, they will now use that for collation. This should be the minimum. Ultimately, we should be punching figures. This is 2024, not 1960. Other countries do it. Why shouldn't they punch figures? At the close of voting at the polling unit, the polling officers must punch the figures, party by party. This party, this is your score. This party, this is your score. The software will collate the results automatically, and everyone will be watching on a giant screen at the National Collation Center. All legacy media will also be plugged in, showing it on television. It can't be more transparent than that. The other day, South Africa conducted their election. It happened the same way. Everyone was watching on a giant TV. So why don't they want a transparent election? The answer is because they know they can't win in a transparent election. That was why IREF was shut off in 2023. After spending more than 300 billion naira to improve elections in Nigeria, but they ended up throwing everything away just because they want to rig elections. That's why you see impunity everywhere. They are so lawless. Imagine Dele Farotimi announced in a press conference detailing the intelligence he got, how they planned to abduct him and charge him to court, and they still went ahead and abducted him exactly the way he announced, exactly the way he told the story. If it were in a normal society, they would have said, our cover has been blown open. Let's abandon ship. Let's look for another plan. But no, they still went ahead. Exactly, bit by bit, the way he said it. They conducted the abduction and the remand to prison exactly the same way. Isn't it proof that everything he wrote in his book is correct? All the actors involved in the whole saga, they have proven that the book is actually the reality, that it's not a fabrication, that he didn't defame anyone. Anyway, Dele wanted to mobilize Nigerians to start a unique type of protest if the government fails to amend the electoral laws to include his two main demands. The protest will be a sit at home. People will just sit at home doing nothing. They won't go to work, they won't go to anywhere until the government does the right thing. So you can see he was a target. They've seen this as a unique type of protest. No one will be shot by any policeman. You can't be tear gassed while in your home or sitting in your office doing nothing. No one will be hurt. But it will definitely bring the economy to its knees if people comply. So as you can see, it might just be the perfect cover to silence and intimidate Dele Farotimi. But will Nigerians accept that? Would they tolerate that? How long would they be pushed to the wall and they continue drilling a hole instead of turning around to fight back? Anyway, let's hear what Dr. Mo has to say.
Some of the worst subjugation, suppression, and depression, in Nigeria's history by leaders who have turned rogues and become relics of some sort, who are just bent over heel to ensure that they crush the spirit of Nigerians against all odds. And like she rightly said, the game is not about defamation of character. This is not the first time. If there is anybody in the history of our nation, dead or alive, who has insulted and spoken, evil, whether rightly or wrongly against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is his current spokesperson who he has, ordered to work for him. And so we understand exactly what the stakes are. And my admonition is that we have to get ready, because even by holding this space tomorrow, you could hear that Dr. Mo has been picked. You have to be ready. And I remember when we marched on the street, immediately after the 2023 general election, even though we're just a few hundreds of people every day for over 23 days, I said, if I am gone down, you have to move. And Dele is taking today, we'll do everything. People have come to the point that, yes, we will not be able to come out. They better get ready to just kill each and every one of us, because in any case, this is not even life that we're living. And let history bear it, because it is the guts and blood and sweat of founding fathers. It's upon their fearlessness and their objectivity and decisiveness that countries like America, like Britain, like all the nations of the earth, like India, like Mahatma Gandhi, who refused to eat until he became a pack of bones, like Mandela, who spent not 23 months and days and weeks, but years in prison. If this regime has become such a tyrannical regime that wants to crush everybody, then we better die now, for the souls of people who will, upon the death, upon our blood, will rise up to build a nation where people can live freely and speak freely. If you check up Dele Farotimi's handle, what you see there is a victim of a nation that is not born. Nigeria has not been born yet, and that is why people die for their ethnic agendas. If you want people to die for Yoruba cause today, they will come out. If you want people to die for Igbo cause today, they will come out. If you want people to die for Fulani, for Hausa, for Tiv, for Idoma, for Birom cause, you will find people. But where are those who are ready to die for cause of Nigeria? Dele Farotimi is not a Yoruba man, he's a Nigerian. He dared every consequences against all odds. He speaks not for a man, but for a Nigeria that is not born. We're here today, connected by the blood of our shared unborn nation. And if you're listening, you better listen real good, because what connects us here is not tribe. What connects us here is not religion. And we have to reaffirm and re-educate and reorientate and keep releasing these words for each and every one of us to understand that we will continue to speak this truth and this power until it becomes evident in every living soul. And so if you're here today and you're a bigot listening to this, it is you we're speaking to, because we're here fighting for your soul. We're not here fighting for any tribe. We're not here fighting for any region. We're not here speaking for any religion. We're here talking about a Nigeria that has not been born, a Nigeria that has not had. We've had Buhari. Buhari was a northern president. Bola Tinubu is a Yoruba president. We're not looking for an Igbo presidency. We're not looking for a tribal president. We're not looking for a police that is there for just the social elites and class of people who have money, so that when you are slapped today, you cannot go to a police station and find justice. We're not asking for a courtroom that is there that can be bought. That's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for old people who have lost their minds, like some of the laureates who can only fight for their tribe and for their ethnic leanings, who only understand their class. No, that's not what we're here for. We're fighting for a Nigeria that has not been born, represented, epitomized by Dele Farotimi. That's why we're here. And for that cause we will speak. For that cause we will march. For that cause we will live. And this is why we're here today. We're here because our nation is not born yet. Yes, we have the Igbo nation, we have Yoruba nation, we have Tiv nation, we have all our beautiful different ethnic nationalities, but a Nigeria has not been born yet. This is why they will carry Dele Farotimi. I don't know how many of you are listening to me. What is the date of today? It is not about defamation of character. It is not about Afe Babalola. No, these are all tools and symptoms. It is not about those who are used as tools. This is about regime control. It was Dele Farotimi that came out to declare that we will use the methodology of sit at home beginning from the 3rd of December. 3rd of December. What is the date of today? What is today's date? You think this is coincidence? This was the day he declared for the seat at home. And because they knew that they have stopped us from protesting, they have stopped every kind of now we don't have elections anymore in Nigeria. From Kogi to Ondo State to Edo, there is no more election. To Imo State, there are no elections. There are no state elections. All you have right now is grab and run away. Snatch and run away. If you're listening to me, wake up and understand what is going on. No human being on the face of the earth, including Donald Trump, president in waiting of the United States of America, that has not been insulted, defamed, and abused. Go and look at Mr. Peter Obi's tweets right now. He said, I've been lied about every day and against, defamed every day by useless, lawless, infused, diffused, infected agent, paid agent, constantly, every day, every living day. It is not about defamation of character. It is about today, the 3rd of December, whom Dele Farotimi declared that we will begin to test the sit-at-home methodology, which is one of the most ancient method, because when they beat you and kill you and ensure you cannot protest, when they ensure you cannot write, when they ensure you cannot speak, when they ensure you cannot do any other thing, there is one more ancient method that has worked. He worked with Martin Luther. He worked with what's the name of this guy in the father of modern India? He worked